Jacksonville, Florida. In today's video, we're going to be doing some wheel alignment. The most important thing about it is before you even get to doing aligning your tractor trailer, you have to do a pre-inspection. Okay, the vehicle has suspension settled, resting, so you can go ahead and take proper measurements, and you can make proper adjustments. Obviously, now a few things that you're going to be inspecting is going to be the frame. You're going to make sure it's not bent or cracked or something. You know, some issue along the way from that. You're going to be checking your leaf springs, make sure they haven't been overloaded and splayed out or something. You're also going to be checking your shock absorbers, make sure they're not leaking. You're going to be checking the U-bolts that are securing your leaf springs. You're going to be checking the auxiliary leaf springs. I mean, you're basically going to go over your entire suspension setup before you even do your alignment, because there's no point in doing your alignment if your suspension is messed up. Okay, so after you've done your pre-inspection, there's a couple different ways to do the wheel alignment, and I'm going to show you guys how to do with an angle iron and taking just regular tape measurements, and then we're going to go into using the Easy Line alignment tool, and that basically just gets mounted straight onto the hubs of the wheels, and you just take the measurements off the lasers on the floor. It should be a 15-20 minute process using the laser light. Obviously, if you're using a tape measure, I mean, you got to clamp it to the frame, and you have to check your squareness and all that stuff, so that's going to take a little bit more time. But we're going to go over both of them in today's video. Stick around. Measurement in this alignment process, we're going to be checking for toe in, toe out. Basically, you want your front wheels to be slightly toed in, almost like a pigeon toe setup. Okay, and that's going to help us out. One, stay on the road straight, and also when it comes to our braking, along with the axle setback or caster, it's going to help us squat down instead of wandering off to the sides. Okay, so in the front, you're going to want some toe in. On the back, you're actually going to want a little bit of toe out, right, so that it can just perfectly follow itself. Okay, so we've got the first step. Again, you're going to want an unloaded vehicle. This vehicle is not unloaded, so my measurements are going to be a little bit off. But again, we're just doing demonstration purposes. We're going to go over the procedure on how to do this. Ideally, we would lift the front end of this tractor up just a little bit up off the ground, so you can take the true measurements of the toe. Right, we got a 9-inch wheel, 9-inch wide, so 4.5 inches would be the dead center of the tire. I've already got some tape laid out on both sides, and basically all we're going to do is we're going to run our tape measure. Run our tape measure all the way to our other tape over there. We're going to go to the center of this tape right here. We're going to take our measurement. Okay. We're about 83 inches wide in the front here, and then we go on the back side. We're going to take the exact same measurement just on the back side of the tire. That's about center. This is reading 81 inches. Okay, so we've got 83 inches in the front, 81 in the back. That actually means that we are towed out. So what we would have to do there is we would have to adjust our tie rod ends and get that to tighten up. Or I'm sorry, loosen the tie rod ends so that they could be towed in properly. And we could get this vehicle back in spec and back out on the road if it needs to be. Checking our camber on our wheels. I've got here a digital protractor. All right, so the first step, you're gonna turn it on. You're gonna set it down on the floor. You're gonna hit the 0 button, right?
Oh shoot. We're on 0.
Okay, so we got that zeroed out, and then basically all we do is we go to the top of the hub right here, and we've got 2 degrees, and the arrow's pointed down. That means we've got negative camber on here, 2 degrees. That's off automatically. We should be at positive camber on these tires. We want positive camber because once it takes a load on the truck, it'll squat down, and it'll be square. It'll leave a square footprint on the road. Okay, so now we're gonna go to the other side. We're gonna take the same measurement. And again, when you guys are doing this, you have to make sure that you zero it out every single time. This one's about 4 degrees, also negative camber. This would need a little bit of an adjustment. We would adjust this by loosening up our tie rod ends, or I'm sorry, taking the tie rod ends in a little bit so that your wheel, instead of it sitting like this at an angle, we're gonna want it to be slightly out at the top, okay? And then again, once it loads up, it squats down and it makes it square. Okay, so now we're taking our camber, and we're gonna take our axle setback, okay? Axle setback, very simple. We're gonna set our, man, this is a bad spot. But we're gonna set our protractor level on the frame. If I can find a level spot on this frame. Here we go. Here we go. You hit that 0 button. All right. And then once we're zeroed out, we can put this on our actual axle. Okay. Take a look. It looks like we've got 6 degrees on this axle setback. Pretty good. That's testing. That's checking our caster. That's another word for setback. Okay, so now we're going to go back. Do the same process over here on our passenger side. This is a little bit better because there's a little bit more light and it's a little bit more open. You can see this process a little bit better. Okay, so again, hit that 0, and all we have to do is take it to the top of the axle. This has got about 4 as well. So, axle setback, good order. That means we've got some positive caster, right? So now the caster, I talked about this in one of my old videos. The caster is the kingpin, right? Pretend this is the kingpin. If you're sitting back like this being the front of the tractor, if you've got it set like this, that's positive caster, and that's what you want. So that when you're going to brake, when you're going to just take off, it won't lunge forward on you, okay? If you have it set like this, that's negative caster, and when you go to brake or take off, it's just gonna slam right over, right? So you want it to just be sitting just like this, so it'll straighten up as it's going. Our caster angle. Next, we're gonna be taking our camber on these wheels, okay? So same process. You're gonna set your protractor down on a level surface. We hit the 0 out button. Okay. And then what we're gonna do is we're gonna actually put this flat alongside of this. And what we're looking for is a perfect perpendicular line would be 90 degrees. This is reading 89.6. Okay, so this would be a 90. This is slightly in because it's 89. So that means that we've got positive camber on these wheels, which is exactly what we wanted. I already took the measurement on the other side, and we got the same thing, 89.6. So that's within spec, exactly where we want to be. Moving on to the next part of this line. So now we've taken our camber measurements and we've taken our caster measurements. Next, we're going to go on to checking our offset, our axle offset, and we're also going to be checking our thrust angle between our intermediate and rear axles. We've got an angle iron already set up. We've got it clamped up. We'll get over to that in a little bit though. Okay, the next measurement that we're going to be taking is our axle offset. Okay, we've got a piece of angle iron, our tape measure, and what we're going to do is we're going to put this bar straight across on the wheel. Okay, and we're going to take our measurement. Take our measurement from the frame right over here, and then we're going to mark it at, we're going to call it 31 3/8, right? 31 3/8. We're going to go over to the passenger side. We're going to make sure that they're evenly spaced. Like I said, for our axle offset. Alright, so this can get a little tricky if you're just doing it by yourself, but I mean totally possible. This one, we are way further. This has got
negative 50 cents.
31 and 3/4. Alright, we'll write that down too. Then we're going to do it with our rear axle as well. And we're going to compare these measurements. This is reading about 31 3/4 also. Take our last measurement here. That's like 31 3/4. All right, cool. Okay, so let's see. We had 3/8 over here, 3/4 over here. That means that our offset is this front one is just a little bit over to the passenger side. And that's not too big of a factor. You can have wheels offset and it can still track straight. The only thing that matters is the squareness of it. And I mean, we just took these two measurements off of that. Our axles are perfectly square along with the frame. So, I mean, we're just gonna move on to the next measurement. Our next measurement that we're gonna be taking is scrub. Yeah. All right, so we got our angle iron here set up. And we've actually got it marked off already at 36 inches off from the frame. Yep, 36 inches off the frame. And we're gonna take our tape measure from here. We've got this this wheel already marked off. We measured from the top of the wheel down. It's 40 inches. And we've actually already got marks on the center of the wheel. This is that 20-inch mark, okay? And we're gonna take our measurement right from here, from our chalk line here to this chalk line here. And as you can see, we've already got some scribbles on our rim. We've already taken this measurement. That's 25.5. Okay, and then we're going to go to the other side, and it should be within 1/8 of an inch on both sides. That'll tell us that we're completely square. Look at that. 25.5 as well. 25.5 is perfectly even, squared with the frame. Now the next thing that we're going to check is squareness of our rear axle. Now for you to do that, what you do is you're going to take the measurement from the inside bead to the inside bead on the other side. Alright, tape measure, straight over. Looks like 29.5 on that side. If we get 29.5 on this other side, then that means that you've got even spacing between your two axles on both sides. And that's exactly what you want. This is again just going over off of, yep, 29.5. Okay, cool. So this measurement checks out too. We're going to keep moving on to the next step in our alignment process.
So now we're going to be going over our easy line alignment. Basically, we're going to be checking our toe in, toe out first. And then we're going to be checking our scrub angle or thrust angle on the tandem wheels in the back. And we're also going to be checking for our wheel axle offset. Now this tool that we've got using today, it's called the Easy Line, or Easy Line tool here, okay? Basically it's got a couple of Allen key screws. You just you attach them to a set of the wheel nuts on them, lug nuts on them. You attach it to it, tighten it down with your Allen key. And then this bar here, it's got a little level on the top of it. Make sure that the bubble's right in the center, so make sure that this bar here is completely level. And you use that same Allen key to tighten it down over here. Okay, we've already got this one set up, and we've got it set up on the other side. We've got 4 lasers. You can see here. We've got our X's set up, and I've got tape measure. We've got a tape measure here. We're going to be checking our toe in, toe out. Okay, so first, like I said, the other side, it's got the laser set up over here too. We're going to take our first measurement here. You're just going to take this to the edge of that line, and you're going to measure it. This one's set up at 107. Thank you. Side is set to 106. So we've got slight toe out. This is not an unloaded vehicle like I had said before, so our measurements are going to be a little bit off. But all I'm doing is going through the demonstration of the process of how to use this tool. Okay, so we've got 4 lasers. They're set up on the edge of the wheel, and we would just take our measurements from the center of that X to the center of this X for the front, and then the center of the back X and the center of the front X. So we can set them, we can take our measurements, the difference between them is going to be our measure of our toe in, toe out. Okay, the next measurement that we're going to be taking is our scrub angle. Okay, we're going to have a laser set up here, and we're going to have one laser set up on the back side, and we're going to measure that distance, and then measure the distance between the two axes in the back. And that will tell us whether our axes are completely straight as they should, or if they're just not even. That's what we're checking for, thrust angle. So that's going to be next. This adapter set up. I wanted you to take a look at this. It's got threads on one side. The other side, it's got a little dimple inside there, and I'll show you when it goes to set it up. But this sets right there. You're going to attach your laser. Attach it to the threaded side first. Alright. And you can see right here the little indentation right in the center of the hub on here. When you go through, it's magnetic. So all you do is set that up, and you turn it until your little bubble. Set it up until your bubble is level. Alright. And you go through and you turn it on. Right. Let's turn on this other one. And now what we have to do is we're going to take all of these measurements first, and then we have to take the exact same measurements on the other side. That's how we can tell whether this wheel is closer to the front than that wheel, or if they're exactly the same. Okay? Thrust angle is important for tire wear, fuel economy. So your turning radius is proper. It's got a lot of factors that thrust angle affects. Okay, so first measurement, take our tape measure. Over here to the center. You have to be very precise with the measurements here. So that's 118.3/8. Okay, 118.3/8. Now, you're going to take a measurement from the center of this X here, center of that X, to this. This is at 52.25. So 118.3/8, 52.25. Let's check the other side. Our 3 lasers set up on this side. We're going to take our exact same measurements. These are supposed to only be about 1/2 inch off. This one's at 118 and 5/8. Okay, so the other side was 118.3/8. The other one's 118.5/8. So that's still within our spec. And this next one, the other one was 52.25. That's 52 1/8. That's only a 1/8 difference. That means that our thrust angle is relatively straight, tracking to the front of the wheels, or our steer tires in the front. Right, so we've taken that scrub angle. Our next measurement that we're actually going to take is our vehicle offset.
using these lasers. Okay, what we're gonna be doing is axle offset. We've got the hub adapters attached to each of the tandem axles back here. We've got our lasers already on there. We actually have another laser over here right on the bottom side of the frame, and that's what we're going to be using to measure how far out each one of these axles is. Right. So axle offset is how far left and right your wheels are from the frame itself. Okay. So we're measuring here about 3 foot even. And this axle and this axle in the back is about we'll say 36 3/4. Okay. So we've taken these measurements here. We're going to move our adapters to the other side, and we'll see how far off we are on that side. Now we've already determined that our scrub angle is good, so we shouldn't really have an issue taking these measurements whatsoever. Just kind of let them settle themselves out. If your shop happens to have these, they're an amazing tool. They cost about the cost of 3 tires. Definitely worth their money. Again, same thing, just attach it to your frame on that side. And then take your measurements. So we're at about 3 foot on the front axle. We're measuring about 36 inches and a quarter. Okay, so that's about 1/4 of an inch off on this over here to the passenger side. And then on our back side, we're at about 36 3/4, which is exactly the same measurement that we took on the other side over there. Okay, so our back, our rear axle is evenly spaced off of the frame, and we have our tandem axle here. Our intermediate axle is actually about 1/4 inch off this way. That's still within manufacturer specs. We looked all this stuff up on the computer first to see what International says that we should be within. They say it's supposed to be within 1/2 inch, so still within spec. This was using our Easy Line tool. It takes significantly less time than what we were doing before, which was the manual way to do our alignment checks. This concludes our video for our alignment process. We've already done our pre-alignment checks, obviously. And I guess that kind of wraps it up, guys.